Hawkesbury.
Racing's FBI outcome the rest in the $1 million Caulfield Cup. Today on Wide World of Sports, the Friedman Brothers Incorporated saddle up their best stayers in an all-out quest to win the Group 1 Classic. The stable holds 4 races in Marble Halls, Always Aloof, dual Caulfield and Melbourne Cup winner Doremus, and lightweight chance Derobe. But there's a herd of challengers led by the likes of Ebony Grove, Might and Power, and Catlin Opening, all at their peak for one of the biggest clashes of the spring. Included in our Caulfield coverage, the Group 3 Schillaci Stakes, plus one of the best guides to the Victorian Derby, the Norman Robinson Stakes, featuring those flashy 3-year-olds. We'll catch up with Cups King Bart Cummings, take a special look at a syndicate that allows ordinary punters to join the champagne set, and review the rich history of the Caulfield Cup. Plus, we'll also be taking the reins at Royal Randwick for the running of the Tattersalls Cup and the Tattersalls Lightning Handicap. In other sports, we'll see how Michael Schumacher snatched the championship lead in the second-last round of the Formula One season. And tee off with golfing highlights from the Alfred Dunhill Cup. From the World Squash Championships at Sydney's Homebush Sports Centre, we'll bring you all the latest action and announce the final winner of our Formula One 97 pack. Plus the trip for 2 to the British Grand Prix at Silverstone in our Sony PlayStation giveaway. Yep, riding a winning streak on their Super Spring Carnival edition right here on your Commonwealth Games Network, home of the one and only Wide World of Sports.
Hello and welcome to Melbourne on one of the great racing days of the year and our comprehensive coverage of the 120th Caulfield Cup. Forecast is for a top temperature around 16 degrees with a few showers. Unfortunately though, Ken Sutcliffe is a late scratching. Preliminary swabs have revealed certain irregularities, let's say. Okay, it's an afternoon of turf action guaranteed to quicken the pulse of any racing fan, not the least Simon O'Donnell and Ken Callender. Good afternoon, gentlemen. What are our expectations?
Yeah, thanks very much, Max. Well, there's big expectations. First of all, the good news is that the weather's cleared. It's a beaut day here in Melbourne now, and the even better news is that Simon and I are going to go home with a lot of money in our kit.
Look, seriously, we'll get Armagard here a little bit later on to take us home. We'll have that much. I think we've got that many winners. 7 races from here at Caulfield, a couple from Sydney. It's just going to be a cracker day.
Yeah, the rail's out 6 metres, which I think is a good move if it gives us a better track.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's been plenty of racing here in the last couple of weeks, and I think we're going to get just an excellent track. The surface looks fantastic, and of course we've turned the weather on for you down south, down here in Melbourne, Kenny, and gee, I hope we win a quid.
Yeah, the Caulfield Cup, it's one of the time-honoured races. We all grew up talking about the 2 big cups, the Caulfield Cup and the Melbourne Cup, and today, well, this is it, the Caulfield Cup of 1997. Can Lee Friedman train his 4th Caulfield Cup winner? Can Damien Oliver ride his 4th Caulfield Cup winner?
Yeah, that's the big question. They've got a good hand in it, so I think they've got a great opportunity of doing all right, Ken.
Okay, well, that's about the scene from here, Simon. I don't think there's much more we can add.
Thanks very much, boys. It is going to be a great afternoon, and while Australia's top stables were bedding down their thoroughbreds for the night, elsewhere in the world of major sporting... Welcome back to Caulfield. Fantastic conditions here, around about 17 degrees, a little bit of breeze, and a big crowd starting to gather in expectation of taking home some money. And of course, the greatest names in Australian racing are also gathered here today. And right throughout the afternoon, the dynamic duo of Simon O'Donnell and Ken Callender will be catching up with some of the jockeys and trainers making the news. In fact, they've already buttonholed 2 of the very best.
Yeah, we certainly have, Max, and we're looking forward to bringing you the panel and picking the eyes out of this Caulfield Cup day. And joining me, of course, and I must make an apology to him. Last week on this panel, I said you can't have a racing show with Ken Callender. Of course, I meant without. Kenny, welcome along.
Apologies accepted, Simon, and I just hope we have as much luck as last week. We both went home with a quid in our kick last week. Let's hope we can do the same today.
Yeah, we certainly do. Shane, of course, race meeting isn't the same without you in the saddle, but we're going to try and make the best of it anyway. You're on the sidelines today. Welcome, and an interesting meeting during the week?
Yeah, yesterday was with the TRB board in Sydney. It went very well. They were very, very good. It was a good talk, and they didn't charge me or do anything to myself.
And of course, Lee Freedman's joining us, and what a solid hand, mate, you have in the Caulfield Cup.
Well, it's always an exciting day, Simon, and we've got 4 good chances, and well, I just hope we have some luck.
Would have liked a bit more rain for Doremus?
Would have helped him, but I think, you know, realistically, the best we can probably expect is for him to be running on. There's younger horses with lighter weights than him that have got great chances in the race.
Well, we'll get right into that Caulfield Cup shortly, but first, let's see how the track is going to play here at Caulfield today and go to Simon Marshall.
Thanks, Simon. The official rating today, Caulfield Cup Day, track is good, and it's very good. As we go down, we've had a little bit of rain. There's a little bit of cushion in the track. Shouldn't worry anybody today. Should suit all horses. Now, the rail is out 6 metres. Reason being is because this part of the track has been raced on. It's not good, but it is out here. With the rail being out 6 metres, it will not suit horses drawn wide. Where I'm standing here, they're just starting to run out of the straight for the first time. Horses will have to try and get cover. Otherwise, they'll be stuck out in no man's land and have no hope at winning the Caulfield Cup. Let's hope we can find you a winner. Back to you, Simon.
Thanks very much, Simon. The two Simons, it's lovely, isn't it? But Lee, the track, the rail being out 6 metres, do you see that as being significant?
I think it's probably one of the more innovative things they've done in racing down here in recent years. I've been going to the Golden Slipper for a while now, and they've been putting the rail out on that final day on Golden Slipper Day for about 3 or 4 years now. I think it's a positive move. I think horses are going to race on fresh ground, and that's what we want.
Yeah, well, we're seeing a picture of it there now. Look, 6 metres is a long way, isn't it, Ken, by the looks of it? But it's good to see that fresh ground being used on such an important race day.
The best advertisement for it, Simon, is that the first race here today, they broke 1-4 for 1,100 metres, and the winner came along the inside. So we're not going to have racing like we did on Wednesday with sweepers coming down the outside, which is good news. And as Lee said, if that gives us a better track, why not do it?
Yes, well, generally on a beautiful track and a beautiful day here at Caulfield, you don't get many scratchings. There's not many during the card today. Let's have a look at them now. Number 8 out of race 2. Gurok, number 11, is out of race 4. Race 5, we lose 12 and 15, Plusker and Shystad. Race 6, we lose number 6 and number 18, which was an interesting runner, Scandinavia. Out of the Caulfield Cup, the emergencies go Yobro, Crying Game, Sunny Lane, and race 8, we lose 13, 18 and 19. So not a lot of scratchings on a big day, a lot of horses running around. Let's have a look at the significant moves in the market for the Caulfield Cup. Now, these figures come from Graham Sampiri. Obviously, still plenty of support for Marble Halls, always aloof. Ishtadad is right up there, Might and Power, Ebony Grove. There's a lot of horses in with a great chance. An enormous move for Catlin opening overnight. Something like 33 to 1 into 12 to 1 overnight. That's a significant move for the Bart Cummings trained horse. Doremus is there in the market. Our Sumo also a horse where there was quite a move overnight for our Sumo. So a lot of chances. Dayro Bay with the barrier draw has probably drifted a little to 25 to 1. And there we have Peep on the Sly, Magnet Bay, Magic of Sydney from the Waterhouse stable at 40s, Sweet Delight, Count Shivers not given much chance at all by the bookmakers. And there we see Bonsai Pipeline at 66 to 1 to be ridden by Brent Thompson. Lee, it's going to be a great race, and you've got the major hand in it with Marble Halls and Always Aloof. Now, before you talk about those 2 horses, let's have a look at the Turnbull Stakes while you are telling us about them. That's a significant lead-up race to the Caulfield Cup.
Well, it's been a significant lead-up race for many, many years now, and I thought our horses ran very well in this. Marble Halls was probably a little advantaged by getting the rails run, but I thought he was a very good effort. He burst clear and was full of run at the finish. Had a good hit out for this race. Always Aloof. Maybe we were a little bit relaxed on him. He thought he had the race won, but I thought he went to the line very, very well. As you note, the first 4 have got right away from the others, and I think this is going to be good form for the Caulfield Cup.
A few sceptics have just got a big question mark on the last little bit of 2,400 metres. They mustn't note your name in brackets after him, Lee.
Yeah, well, what I think they don't take into consideration, Ken, is the fact that this horse has been running at weight for age. He's back to 52.5 and a handicap today. That makes a significant difference, and he's had the preparation for it.
And I think, too, when UPIA did beat him in the Queensland Derby over the distance, they beat the 3rd horse by further than Simon can throw a cricket ball.
Yeah, and I think my horse was probably a little over the top by then, too.
Lee, looking at or a reversal of form from that race from the Turnbull, let's go to the Underwood, and we saw Always Aloof actually beat Marble Halls on that day. A significant margin. I think it was 1 3/4 lengths. What's the difference there, in your lead up to the Caulfield Cup between these two horses? We see Always Aloof in front there now. Istedad running second. Marble Halls couldn't pick him up.
No, I thought he stuck to his task. Well, I mean, weight for age races are totally different to handicaps, and I think that run was third up. Maybe the Craigley had taken a little bit out of my horse and he wasn't quite as good on the day. I was able to give him a couple of weeks more work after that, Simon, and he came back in the Turnbull and he showed what he can really do. I'm perfectly happy with his fitness. I'm perfectly happy with the 2400 and his weight, so everyone else should be.
If you're a betting man out of your top four, Always Aloof, Marble Halls, Doremus, Dayro Bay, give us something to put in our pocket.
Well, I'll put my head on the line. I'm going to say Marble Halls can win the race. I think Always Aloof will run a fantastic race and be hard to beat. But I think they're the best from our stable, followed probably by Doremus and Dayro Bay.
Ken, on the Sydney side of things, Might and Power obviously is one of your fancies.
I think Might and Power can win the race. I don't like the preparation he's had. I know Mannerism won this race with a reasonably light preparation. I'd have rather Might and Power run in a 2,000-metre race. And talking of that, last Easter, he ran in the Frank Packer Plate. Now have a look what he does to them at the finish of 2,000 metres. After this race, David Hayes offered Connections $1 million US for the horse. Lee, that's a lot of money, but he was impressive.
Well, Hazy's got plenty. He's getting it every week in Hong Kong, and he doesn't mind splashing it around. But anyway, they've kept him, and he's a very nice horse.
Look, what you've got to remember is good milers can go from this race, the Epsom, into the Caulfield Cup and still win or run well. Iron Horse has done it. Impresera did it one year. I think she ran second and come out and won a Caulfield.
Well, let's have a look at Iron Horse now, winning the Epsom, of course, out of the Gay Waterhouse stable, Shane. Ran third last year. It's got to be a great chance.
Yeah, he has got a good chance.
Go back to the rails.
Might and Power should have won the race easy. I've got no doubt he should have won. That's him on the fence getting chopped out time and time again. If he'd had a good run in this, he wins. But you can't take anything away from Iron Horse. He ran third in the race last year, the Caulfield Cup. He's going to get a good run up near the pace, and he's trained by Gay Waterhouse.
Shane, what do you make of the theory that Might and Power's been hanging in badly his last two starts? Do you think that'll come against him?
Well, no, because he's got Jimmy Casti on, and he had Brian York there. I know he's got the stick in his right hand, but he normally carries it in his left, and you can see him getting buffeted there. Yeah. He just had no hope. But I think this way of going, it won't worry him with Jimmy, and Jimmy rides a little bit quieter out of the gates, and that might just help him.
Yeah. Okay.
Shane, the 4 kilos of Iron Horse, he carried 4 extra kilos in the Epsom, now 4 kilos again in the Cup. Can that be significant in this race?
Well, it's a lot of weight, but he's a year old, and you've got to remember he'd run third in last year's Epsom, and he's since then won an Epsom, and he's run third in a Caulfield Cup. So his form warrants a 4-kilo rise.
Now, I've got to quote my old great-grandmother at this stage. She had a great theory about horses that couldn't win the previous year on a biased track with 49-something kilos. He's got nearly 5 more. He's not going to win this year, in my view.
I'll get a fair dingham job.
Well, he's not my tip anyway.
Okay, Shane, a horse you've got an enormous opinion of when he's right is Ebony Grove. Now, you're somewhat confident that he can win the Caulfield Cup?
I've got no doubt he can. On his day, I don't think any horse in Australia can beat him. You'll see him here. He ran 33 dead this day for the last 600 on a slow track, and I had to barge my way through. Now, when I get through, you watch in the last 50 metres when I put the stick away, he really charges. Now, Alpha, the horse he beat this day, is third favourite for the Cox Plate and run a gallant fourth in the Epsom. He's got a great chance today.
Ken, on the Sydney horses, Ebony Grove, do you rate him a chance?
I think he's a useful horse. I don't think he can give Might and Power a couple of kilos, which he's asked to do today. He did win an AJC Derby. I think Might and Power is a better horse, and I reckon that Might and Power will get the prize. The unknown quantity in this race, Simon, is the Kiwi, our Sumo. And we saw him at Sandown last Sunday winning the Coongie Handicap. Now, I know the opposition was pretty Kleiner, but he did work well the last 200 metres.
He should have won a lot easier this day. He got held up, Ken turning for home, and it was a slow run race. And they were offered big money again during the week to sell this horse, and they knocked it back. But he was very impressive, Lee.
I think he's a very good horse, but one wonders, you know, what some of these horses like Might and Power and Marble Halls and Ebony Grove would have done to them with 52.
Would have won by a minute.
That's right.
Ken, let's cut to the chase. What are you tipping?
I'm tipping Might and Power. If he'd had one more run at 2,000 metres, I think he's a good thing. I still think he'll win. I think our Sumo's the best roughie, and I reckon Marble Halls is the horse they've all got to beat. For me, Might and Power.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I'm sticking with the Lee Friedman camp with Always Aloof. I think Ebony Grove will run a great race. Skybow's the one that I think could be flashing down the outside, and of course, Loyalty takes me to Day by Day, and I hope she gets a lovely run in the race and possibly can win us a Caulfield Cup.
Terrific. Yeah, well, for mine, I'm tipping Marble Halls. I'm tipping Always Aloof in the placings. And the two dangers away from my stable, I think, are Tristarc and Ebony Grove.
I think there's 4 chances and only 4. Your 2 horses, Marble Halls, and of course Always Aloof, Might and Power and Ebony Grove, and I'm sure one of those should win the race.
Ken, there's a big Sydney flavour in the Norman Robinson, which is basically a lead up to the classic race of the Derby. Tie the Knot, he's got to be a horse you've got to look at strongly to win it.
He can't beat Brave Prince. Brave Prince should have beat him in the Champion Stakes in Sydney. We should have tape of that. And not only should he have beaten him in Sydney, this is Brave Prince going to the lead. He took off early, didn't make the home turn. Tie the Knot gets up inside him in the red with the white cap. Brave Prince is all over the place. He beats him 3.5 better today. He gets 3.5 off Tie the Knot. That'll make the difference. And he's got a guy in the saddle called Earl Dittman. He'll win today. I'm more worried about Lee's horse than Tie the Knot.
Shane?
The 4th horse in that race, Spying. He's galloped during the week at Flemington, was sensational. He's on the way up. He's got a great chance, but realistically at the weight, you've got to look at Brave Prince ahead of Tie the Knot, but watch for Spying.
I query the form of the Sydney 3-year-old stayers. You see El Morata running 3rd there. He ran in the Guineas here last week, got beaten by 100 yards. So I wouldn't concede the race to the Sydney horse. I think my horse with blinkers on today will improve quite a lot, so I'm tipping him each way.
And he's one to watch for the Derby, mate.
Well, he may be. He's been up a while. Today's the big watershed for him. He'll either make the grade or he'll go out, one of the 2.
Lee, how do you see actually Dennis Roy having running today? I mean, with the blinkers on, are you looking for something different?
Well, I've got pacifiers on him, Simon, and pacifiers, and I put a Norton bit, which is a more severe bit on the horse. We're desperately trying to get him to settle. He's got an enormous amount of ability, but you know, only time will tell.
You better put me on him then if you want him to settle.
Well, if you're ever in, I could probably put you on.
Is Tie the Knot your major danger?
I don't think so. I think Ken Step Brave Prince meets the other horse a lot better at the weights.
And Simon, when I mentioned these horses, I didn't worry about Dennis Arrea. I'm worried about Caulfield.
Yeah, I thought that's the one you meant. Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at your tips for that one, Kenny.
Yeah, I think Brave Prince is the best bet of the day. He's the horse you'll hear me cheering home, Simon.
Yeah, well, I'm going to stick with Tie the Knot. He's helped me out a couple of times so far, and I think he might help me out again. All right, boys, race 5, the Tattersalls Stakes, Group 3. Ken, you're a bit keen on Tattersalls?
No, I think Tattersalls got a chance, Simon, but my tip in the race is Headstrong. Now, he won at Flemington last year on Melbourne Cup Day. He always goes well in Melbourne, the Melbourne way of going, and he returned to form last start at Randwick with Mick Dittman on him. He produces a very fast sprint here, dashes clear, and I thought he was quite impressive. Here he comes after West Point. West Point in front, Headstrong racing up to him now. That was his first show of form for some time. I think he can repeat that form, and I'm tipping him to get the prize today, Headstrong.
Shane?
I like King Ivor. His run in the Epsom was outstanding. He got beat 2 lengths, and I don't think this is a nobly strong race, and King Ivor will be very hard to beat.
Lee, what do you think?
Well, I haven't got a runner in it, so I haven't had that close a look at the race, but I always respect Clary's horses, and I believe he's got Headstrong. That'll do me.
Kenny, you're staying with Brave Prince?
Brave Prince is my best bet of the day, Simon. In the Schillaci Stakes, a race that Lee should be very interested in, I thought that Katana could win that from Regal Centre.
Shane?
I think Trader Vic on a very fast track here has got a very good chance with no weight on his back.
Lee?
I've got 2 runners in it, Poetic King with a lot of weight and a filly down on the weights, Elegant Lass. I've had a look at the field. I just think it's too hard.
OK, fellas, let's have a quick look at race 8. We're running out of time. The Tristarc. Again, Group 3, Ken Amber.
Yeah, Amber's a very good mare. She should have won last start at Randwick. I'm not that wrapped in the Melbourne horses in this race. And Amber's very well weighted, only giving 1.5 to all of her rivals or carrying the same weight as some. I think
Shane?
I thought Amber would win. Her run the other day was outstanding. She was wide. She's got a great jockey on. She's the one to beat. Watch for a roughy Shindig. Its runs have been good.
Lee?
That was my tip. I watched her closely in the race at Flemington the other day. She had no luck at all, and I think she'll go very well in this Shindig.
Lee, have a great day. Shane, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Kenny, we'll see a lot more of you.
We sure will, Simon. I hope I'm cheering.
That's all from the panel at the moment. We'll take a break, and there's plenty more racing to follow.
Okay,
Okay, well, we're back at Caulfield and we just see a couple of the runners. One runner getting attended to behind the barrier there. Looks like Saddlecloth number 1, which is Gullible in the second race, up from Sydney. And there's a better shot of the horses starting to go into line for the running of race 2 here at Caulfield, the 1400 metre sprint. And I've just got time to run through the tote prices for you. Number 1 Gullible on Super Tab at the moment is showing at 4 to 1. Number 2 Major Victory, one of the Sydney siders, as is Gullible, at 16 to 1. The favourite is Damien Oliver's mount Classic Day at even money. Moretti is a 9 to 1 chance, another Sydney runner. Tricove, a 4th Sydney runner, is at 8 to 1. Strike Force at 7 to 1. Al Savat at 25 to 1. Hibernate was scratched this morning. Aussie Prospector is at 33 to 1. Then I've got the wrong prices for these last two. Lord Howard is out to 100 to 1. That was easy to do. And Richland is at 25 to 1. The hot favourite, $2.10 now, which is odds of about 10 to 9 for Classic Day, Damien Oliver's mount. And just about to go into line there is Al Savat, TAB number 7. Simon, what do you fancy?
Yeah, it's hard to go past Classic Day. He's been running against class racehorses, which should go very well. Keep an eye on Gullible as well.
Yeah, it's a good race. Classic Day is obviously the horse to beat. I think the Sydney horses are useful without being top grade, and I reckon whatever beats Classic Day will get the prize. Well, just waiting for our Savat to be put into the barrier there, then they'll all be set for the running of race 2 from Caulfield today, which is the Mercedes-Benz Stakes, a listed race for 3-year-olds of 1400 metres. Okay, they're about ready. Let's go to our caller, John.
They're off and running to a good start too, and one of the first to jump out towards the centre was Classic Day and company there with Strike Force, who began well, and out quickly also Major Victory and Gullible up in the firing liner, and a bit further back is our Savat being followed by Moretti. Second last there Aussie Prospector, and Tricove has got back to last. On the railway side they race, and Lord Howard takes up the running, leads 2 lengths to Gullible. A length further back is Richland being followed by Major Victory on the outside of Classic Day. 2 lengths further back than is our Savat, and Strike Forces behind them. A length and a half Moretti over on the inside being followed by Aussie Prospector, and Tricove is back at the tail of the field. On the railway side, just over 800 metres left to travel, and Lord Howard had skipped away. About 5 lengths to Gullible, moving up on the outside Major Victory, and just in behind them Richland followed by Classic Day. A length and a half further back over on the inside our Savat. Tricove is gaining ground, followed by Strike Force, Aussie Prospector, and Moretti has got back to last as they come up towards the home turn. Lord Howard about 2 lengths in advance of Gullible on the inside there of Major Victory, being followed closely by Richland, and Classic Day looking for a run. Tricove is around the outside running on, followed by our Savat. Strike Force behind them, Aussie Prospector, and Moretti is last as they straighten up with about 350 metres left to go. Major Victory's moved up to take the lead. Tricove is coming home well at Classic Day, just in behind them. Hard Ridden being followed by Gullible, who's coming after this leader. Major Victory still in front with 150 metres left to go from Gullible. Classic Day can't go on. Major Victory still the leader. Gullible trying to pick it up in the final stages. Major Victory too strong, wins a long neck to Gullible. Third home is Classic Day, then Strike Force followed by our Savat. Next to finish is Tricove, and further back in the field is Moretti, followed by Richland and Aussie Prospector, and Lord Howard has run last.
Well, the G, Greg Hall, got home on the Brian Guy trained Major Victory from Sydney, and for those who supported him, he's paid $15.40 and $3.90. Number 1 Gullible has paid $1.80 for the place, and number 3 Classic Day $1.20. He was 5 to 2 favourite at Randwick last start, Major Victory, and was very disappointing. His previous form was excellent, with a placing and 3 wins from his previous 4 starts. And there, that's Gullible on the rails in the cerise. In the yellow colours outside him is the winner, Major Victory, and that's Classic Day with the white blaze and the striped cap, who just can't do any better. Strike Force outside of him in the lime colours, but the winner is Major Victory for Greg Hall. He beats Gullible with Classic Day the favourite. I think a rather disappointing third.
Yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing. I thought he had every chance and should have, right at this stage, done a little more than he did, Ken.
We'll just
same with
pause them
Tricove
here, Simon. If we pause them, there is the winner, which is Major Victory. It's Gullible inside of him. There's the favourite, who was a bit disappointing, Classic Day, and that's Tricove, who dropped off there, and outside of him is Strike Force. Okay, let's roll tape again, and we see Major Victory getting clear. Classic Day just didn't come on, Simon.
No, certainly didn't. I thought had every chance to come on and just really didn't respond to hard riding. Tricove, I thought, nearly looked the winner at the turn, but again didn't finish the race off. I was happy with the run of Gullible. I thought showed a bit of G&D and kept getting to the line, nearly picking up Major Victory in the end.
Yeah, Major Victory too strong out the centre of the track, but there was nothing wrong with the rail where Gullible was. That was a good shot. we've got an even better shot from a different camera angle we might show you here. How about this? This is a good exhibition of Greg Hall's riding on the winner in the last 100 metres, Simon.
Actually, I think you might find that Greg Hall got injured in that first. I reckon we've got Greg Childs on this now.
It
so
looks like G. Childs, doesn't it?
See what happened for the rest of the afternoon. And I only knew that, Ken, not because of his accent, because it's written on the side of his stripes.
Yeah, well,
that is a great shot.
We've given the wrong man the rap there. That's right, we didn't show the first race on air, but Greg Hall was injured behind the barrier, obviously felt the effects after that race, and that is Greg Childs there coming back to scale, no doubt about it, even though he has got it written on his breeches.
No, it certainly is he, and look, he's a ripper rider in great form at the moment.
I hope that's the first mistake we make. We won't make any mistake with the winners. So in the meantime, let's take a break on today's Caulfield Cup edition of the Wide World of Sports.
Welcome back to Caulfield, where the second race has been run and won there. Greg Childs taking an advantage there, piloting major victory to victory in the Mercedes-Benz Stakes. As we see there, look at that, 15.40 and 3.90. Second place, Gullible paid $1.80, and disappointing Classic Day 120. The Quinella 34.70 and the Trifecta $164.70. Super TAB dividends. Okay, now at Scotland's famous St Andrews course, national pride has been on the line as teams comprising the world's top golfers on one of the great days in the Spring Carnival. Now, all of that noise around me here, you might wonder where I am. Well, I'm in the trustees' room up here. The menu is absolutely magnificent. Terrific crowd in. The clink of champagne bars, the Chardonnay, the odd beer going down. And already we've had a few winners here. Terrific vantage point looking down the straight back there to the finish post. Okay, time to talk Formula One and how appropriate it is on this Caulfield Cup day to find the prancing horse of... They run the first Caulfield Cup here. Well, the gods are smiling on us today. Brilliant blue sky, about 17, 18 degrees. Looks absolutely resplendent. Okay, drug testing has become a vital and integral part of sport. Much has been written and said of the new technologies available for detecting drug cheats. In Australia, our detection facilities are equal of anywhere in the world. But this doesn't just apply to detecting illicit substances in human athletes. As Charles Stewart reports, testing in the equine world is just as sophisticated.
This is the Australian Racing Forensic Laboratory. Last year, more than 20,000 urine and blood samples from greyhounds, trotters and racehorses were analysed here. The perception may be this is all new technology, but surprisingly, the laboratory is celebrating its 50th year in the business of detecting illicit substances.
We're testing for a wide range of drugs, from potent performance-enhancing or depressing drugs to a wide range of therapeutic drugs, those drugs that are used routinely in the treatment of horses during their working and racing campaign.
Of all the samples tested, about 1 in 150 return a positive analysis. Hundreds of different substances can be detected, and the sophistication of the processes are identical to those being used in human sporting activity.
Both horse racing and human athletes, the drug testing is done with similar equipment, namely gas chromatograph, mass spectrometers, and perhaps now liquid chromatography, mass spectrometers, but the equipment is essentially identical.
With human athletes, it's a simple process to get samples for testing. All you have to do is make sure they have plenty to drink and then wait until they can provide the sample. With horses, it's not quite so simple. It's not just a case of getting in the famous horse whisperer, more a case of getting in the horse whistler.
there's need from time to time for them to pass water, and that's an old ploy that's been used by trainers for many, many years, is to lead them into a straw-covered box and whistle up to them, and it causes them to urinate. We would average about a collection rate of about 98 to 99% of horses are subjected to urine testing will provide urine for us under those sorts of conditions, and whistling is certainly a great help there. Normally we'd do this over a sink.
Chief Veterinarian Craig Sewan this week conducted a media tour of the testing facilities, demonstrating how samples are taken and packaged so they can't be tampered with en route to the lab.
One of those bottles of urine will be put through the various analytical processes here in the laboratory, and then in the event of a finding of an irregularity or positive finding, the reserve urine and control bottle will be then forwarded to another referee laboratory for confirmatory analysis of the original finding.
In 1991, this laboratory discovered the therapeutic drug lignocaine had been